Okay, so like I said, we have been discussing Article 17, entertainers and sportsperson. Is one of the favorite articles. We are clearing our mind what Article 17.1 deals with. We said that Article 17.1 is when you have the sportsperson or entertainer earning his own income, like more like an individual. So it's mostly linked to a situation where somebody is a professional and he's in his own employment. So we normally discuss this Article 17 together with Article 15 because Article 15 is about employment. So the rules of employment is very keen when you are looking at an individual earning income in somebody's country. However, when it comes to Article 17, we relegate every rule regarding employment. We relegate it. So we begin with Article 17 with the phrase notwithstanding. And the lawyers will tell you, if you see notwithstanding in a provision, it suspends everything and then makes the provision that you are discussing the superior. So notwithstanding the provisions of Article 15 means that forget about everything that employment relations can bring in terms of income and taxation. The rules of Article 17 says that when you perform your arts, entertainment, or whatever in somebody's country, okay, in somebody's country, then that country may tax the income. So if I go and if Usain Bolt goes to play or participate in Olympics, Usain Bolt may not be resident in UK, but UK will have every right to say we want to tax it. We discussed the question regarding Redeemer, and we noticed that where, for example, any income coming from sports person spans across several months, there is the need for us to apportion it. Imagine Cristiano Ronaldo has signed a contract, and then as part of the contract, Cristiano Ronaldo, performs in Ghana, and eventually we get to know it. There's the need for us to go into the contract and say, if the contract is for 6 months and you have performed 1 day in Ghana, can we apportion it and tax that portion of the income you got from Ghana? So clearly, Article 17 will always examine your capability to identify which income can be directly attributable to a sports person. Some of the income may not be attributable to them, so you don't apply this notwithstanding provision. For example, business income. If the guy is into anything and it is business income, this notwithstanding will not happen. Though he's a sports person, he might have gotten the income, but that income does not qualify, per the commentary, does not qualify to be classified as entertainer or sports person's income, as far as Article 17 is concerned. Again, if you restrict you to a country, like I mentioned, it's difficult, though we know it's difficult to remember the various articles. If you restrict it to UK, for example, don't go and be too fixated on Article 17, because Ghana, UK may not fall under Article 17. That is why it's important to also pick your treaties and check, do a rough work. In the past classes, somebody will normally volunteer to match them, to match the articles. So he will list all the countries and then he will do it in an Excel. Normally Article 1 to Article 13 is the same for almost all the countries. But when you move from Article 14 going, some of them, we don't even have Article 14 relating to the type of income that has been listed, for example, in UK and South Africa. So from Article 14 going, it may change. I don't know whether we can have a volunteer who will do that for us. That would be good. Just pick the treaties and sit down and then do the matching for us. It becomes easier for us to remember. So those are the things you just have to know under Article 17 when the question comes, as far as Article 17.1 is concerned. Any question before we go to Article 17.2? Article 17.2 looks at it in a different manner. It's the same, but looks at it in a different manner. For example, Article 17.2 will look at a situation where we are performing as a group. So if I am an orchestral group, the income will not come to me as an individual. Let's say Bethel Revival Choir. Bethel performs. Maybe you are the lead singer. If Bethel performs, at the end of the year or at the end of the month, you are paid some allowance or as a salary. Imagine in case they are working full-time workers. You may be paid a salary. If you are paid that salary, that income did not come to you as individual performing as if you are a sole performer like Shatawale. So the income comes to that group or that person, that company or something, that association, before you get your share. That is how Article 17.2 looks at it. So any question on Article 17.1 before we move to 17.2? Then we will bring the curtain to a close under 17. Who has any confusion to clarify or any contribution? Let me put it that way. Because every day we are all learning. Who has any contribution? Please, do you have any comments to make on that 17.1?
Oh, no, I'm fine for now.
Okay. All right. Okay, so then let's move to 17.2. And when we finish, we're going to look at a simple question. So when you go to the exam hall and then you see entertainers, watch, is this 17.1 dealing with somebody performing alone, or 17.2 dealing with a group or association performing? 17.2 says, where income in respect of personal activities. So I'm a soprano singer. That's my personal activity. Exercised by an entertainer or a sports person acting as such accrues not to the entertainer. So there's an income, but it's not accruing to me personally. It's not paid to my bank account. Accrues not to the entertainer or a sports person, but to another person. Another person here means the company, because I'm not performing alone. So the income I'm getting my share is inside, but it's paid to another person. It says that income may, notwithstanding the provisions of Article 15, be taxed in the contracting state in which the activities of the entertainer or sports persons are taxed. So we look at two situations so that you don't escape. You say, oh, maybe UK tax authorities, you can't come to me. Yes, I was the lead singer, but the money was not paid to my bank account. It was paid to the group. So go to the group. Article 2 deals with it. Great. Let's go to the commentary. And you can look at page number 338. Can somebody do some reading for us? Page 338. Any volunteer? Ose, you have the book, eh? Or Kisi Edu also has the book. 338. Any volunteer? Isaac, you have the book. Isaac, do it for us.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Isaac, we can hear you.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I have the book, but I'm not at home. I've traveled, so I am not close to the book. I don't have the book with me.
Okay. So let me do the reading. It says paragraph 1 of the article deals with income derived by individual entertainers and sportspersons from their personal activities. Paragraph 2 deals with situations where income from their activities accrues to other persons. If the income of an entertainer or sportsperson accrues to another person, and the state of source does not have the statutory right to look through the person receiving the income to tax it as income of the performer. Paragraph 2 provides that the portion of the income which cannot be taxed in the hands of the performer may be taxed in the hands of the person receiving the remuneration. If the person receiving the income carries on business activities, tax may be applied by the source country even if the income is not attributable to a permanent establishment therein. But it will not always be so. There are three main situations of this kind. The first is the management company, which receives income from the appearance of a group of sports person. The appearance of, example, a group of sports persons, which is not itself constituted as a legal entity. The second is a team, group, orchestra, and etc., which is constituted as a legal entity. Income for persons, income for performances may be paid to the entity. Individual members of the team, orchestra, and etc. will be liable to tax under paragraph 1 in the state in which they perform their activities as entertainers or sportsperson on any remuneration or income accruing for their benefit derived from the performance of these activities. See, however, paragraph 14.1 below. The profit element accruing from the performance of the legal entity will be liable to tax under paragraph 2. The third situation involves certain tax avoidance devices in cases where remuneration for the performance of an entertainer or sportsperson is not paid to the entertainer or sportsperson himself, but to another person. Example, a so-called star company, in such a way that the income is taxed in the state where the activity is performed, neither as personal service income to the entertainer or sportsperson, nor as profit of the enterprise. In the absence of permanent establishment, some countries look through such arrangements under their domestic law and deem the income to be derived by the entertainer or sportsperson. Where this is so, paragraph 1 enables them to tax income resulting from activities in their territory. Other countries cannot do this. Where a performance takes place in such a country, paragraph 2 permits it to impose a tax on the profits diverted from the income of the entertainer or sportsperson to the enterprise. It may be, however, that the domestic laws of some states do not enable them to apply such a provision. Such states are free to agree to other solutions or to leave paragraph 2 out of their bilateral conventions. The applications of paragraph 2 is not restricted to situations where both the entertainer or sportsperson and the other person to whom the income accrues, example, a star company, are residents of the contracting state. The paragraphs allow the states in which the activities of an entertainer or sportsperson are exercised to tax the income derived from these activities and accruing to other person regardless of other provisions of the convention that may otherwise be applicable. Thus, notwithstanding the provision of Article 7, the paragraphs allows that states to tax the income derived by a star company resident of the other contracting state, even where the entertainer or sportsperson is not a resident of the other state. Conversely, where the income of an entertainer resident in one of the contracting states accrues to a person, example, a star company, who is a resident of a third state, which the state of the source does not have a tax convention, nothing will prevent the contracting state from taxing that person in accordance with its domestic law. So, ladies and gentlemen, all we are saying is that Charterhouse, I'm trying to give an example. Charterhouse may be a company that organizes the event, or Charterhouse may be a company with its own orchestral group. When they go and perform and the money is paid to Charterhouse, how do we tax Charterhouse? What we are saying is that Charterhouse will be taxed on its profits. It's a business person. Charterhouse did not perform, so it will be taxed on its business profits, notwithstanding the fact that it has no permanent establishment. Remember, the rules are that you can only be taxed on your profits when you have a permanent establishment. But the performers, the individual people, when they receive their income, then we bring them under Article 1 to come and tax them. Please, is it clear? Let's look at this particular question. and then it will clarify some of the doubts that we may have. This is a 2020 February question that we brought, and it was on Article 17.2. It says, Jobuku Lulabi or Lullaby. I don't know which one is this. Jobuku Lullaby Limited is a Ghanaian music and orchestra group. Now, immediately you see this orchestra group, then your mind should know where we are going. Syntax Promotion, a company resident in the United Kingdom, extended an invitation to Jobuku Lullaby Limited to a musical concert held in London in December 2019. Professor Abu, an employee of Jobuku Lullaby Limited, was billed to perform for Syntax at two separate concerts in London, one at Gustav Hall and the other at Gibson Hall. The following payments were made to Jobuku Lullaby Limited by Syntax Promotion. £100,000 for the public performance at the Gustav Hall, 20,000 for using the professor's image to advertise. The payment was deposited into Jobuku Lullaby Limited's bank account. 50,000 for the cancellation of Gibson Hall event. 2% of gates proceeds received. 20% of income that accrue from businesses that advertised at Gustav Hall event. Emergency Revenue and Customs in the United Kingdom wrote to the Syntax Promotion demanding tax in respect of all the incomes paid to Jobuku Lullaby Limited. Syntax objected to HMRC request, stating that Jobuku Lullaby Limited has no permanent establishment in the United Kingdom and therefore cannot be liable for a United Kingdom tax on business income earned by Jobuku Lullaby Limited, since there is a double taxation agreement between Ghana and the United Kingdom. Think Tank Consulting, a firm of chartered tax practitioners in Accra, was consulted by Syntax Promotion to advise them on the HMRC claim. You are a chartered tax practitioner in the employment of Think Tank Consulting, and Syntax request has been referred to you to deal with by your managing partner. Required. Prepare a briefing note to the managing partner of Think Tank Consulting in which you set out clearly with reasons whether United Kingdom's tax is due on each of the payments made to the Jobuku Lullaby Company Limited as demanded by HMRC. 20 marks. Are we on the same page? Am I online?
Yes, please. You're online.
There's too much silence. Okay. Are we clear? Is everything moving fine? Or we need to go back to the commentary again? Should we go back to the commentary again? Can we answer such a question? Okay, let me pause for a minute to hear people. Mabel.
Hello, sir.
Are you yeah, how is it? Do you understand it?
So, unfortunately, I just joined. I thought it was 8:30, so.
Jocelyn, do you understand it? This question, it can come in exams. Jocelyn.
So I was also just joining.
So you
I just joined you.
cannot answer it. Okay, Prince.
I'm just listening to you.
We'll come back again. So if you listen, it will take you like take away. Prince, lead a discussion. What do you think? How do you understand the question? Understanding is skill. If you get it, yes, you can listen, but we'll finish and then you go home and you say,
You don't understand.
you don't understand.
The question is not too clear to me. That's in the demands.
Okay. Then I think we need to go. Prince, you need to help me read. And those of you who are traveling, you need to be picking your book up. We can do it and go, but you go and the question will come, and then you see that you've wasted enough time because you need to erase it again. So in as much as you are busy, try your best, all your possible best. The little you can cover so that you don't waste your money. Prince, let's do this. I'm going to engage you. Okay. Do you have the book?
Yes, Timo, I do.
Go to page 338.
Okay, just a moment.
Who else doesn't understand? Maybe you say you don't understand. Maybe
Hello, sir.
you say you don't understand.
No, sir, I didn't say I didn't understand the question. I said I just joined, but I know we are discussing Article 17.
But do you understand? Can you answer the question? What will be your introduction?
I've not read through.
Okay, so I want to make sure you understand. So I'm going to make you read it. Okay. Can you see my screen? You read up to some point,
Okay.
then Jocelyn will continue.
Yes.
Jocelyn, are you there? Jocelyn.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so Mabel is going to read up to some point. The two of you are going to give us the introduction. So let's read. Mabel is going to read up to some point. Follow keenly. Oh yeah, you continue. Then the three of us will share ideas before Grace comes to read.
Sir, please, where I am, I can't read.
Oh, then it means that you will not understand.
I'm following, but I can't read.
You can
I
follow,
don't-
but you won't understand. As for following, I know you can follow.
Yeah.
So it means that I should take you out for understanding today, isn't it? Maybe you two, you cannot read it.
But whilst they are reading, I'm following. I may get it, please. Don't take me out.
The reason is that I'm going to send you a similar question for you to answer.
Yes, please.
You
I will.
promise you can do
Yes,
it.
yes, I promise.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
are you also in a position where you cannot read?
Yes. Something that I can read.
Okay. So do it for me.
Okay. Jobuku Lullaby Limited is a Ghanaian music and orchestra company. Syntax Promotion, a company resident in the United Kingdom, extended an invitation to Jobuku Lullaby Limited to a musical concert held in London in December 2019. Professor Abu, an employee of Jobuku Lullaby Limited, was billed to perform for Syntax at two separate concerts in London.
Mabel.
One at
Mabel.
Gustav Hall and the other at Gibson Hall. The following payments were made to Jobuku Lullaby Limited by Syntax Promotion. Please, can you please throw up? I've ended, sir. You can't hear me.
Maybe your line was very weak.
Oh.
Your line was weak, and so we're getting a very terrible feedback. Prince.
Okay.
Prince.
Yes, Timo.
So because Mabel's network is weak, I'm coming to you. We need to understand this and solve it so that we can get some 20 marks. Okay, so Prince, take it from there.
So that's the question, right?
Yes, so she has read up to this point, and I believe all of us follow up to this point. There's a musical company in Ghana. They've been invited to UK by a Syntax Promotion. Syntax Promotion is like, one of these star companies like Charterhouse. So they invite you to come and perform, and then they are going to pay you some money. Now, these are the monies that were paid to the orchestral group from Ghana. Look at it. A.
Okay, so A, £100,000 for the public performance at the Gustav Hall. B, £20,000 for using the professor's image to advertise. The payment was deposited into Joboku Lullaby Limited's bank account. C, £50,000 for the cancellation of Gibson Hall's event. D, 2% of the gate proceeds received. E, 20% of income that accrued from businesses that advertised at the Gustav Hall event.
Now, Prince, before you proceed, this A to E, is it familiar to you when we're discussing Article 17.1? Have you seen some of these things before? Prince?
Yes, Timo.
You remember when we're looking at the individual ones where Dixon was booked, individual persons were booked to come and perform. You see the payments are similar.
Yes.
But this time it's in some other form. The payment, some of the payments are even made to the company in which this guy works. So that if you are not careful, you think that A to E is the same as the one we discussed under 17.1 when we're looking at questions like Dixon and co. Okay. Continue.
Her Majesty Revenue and Customs.
That's the GRA version of the tax authorities in UK.
In the United Kingdom, wrote to Syntax Promotion, demanding tax in respect of all incomes paid to Joboku Lullaby Limited. Syntax objected to the HMRC request, stating that Joboku Lullaby Limited has no permanent establishment in the United Kingdom and therefore cannot be liable for a United Kingdom tax on business income earned by Joboku Lullaby Limited, since there is a double tax agreement between Ghana and the United Kingdom. Think Tank Consulting, a firm of chartered tax practitioners in Accra, was consulted by Syntax Promotion to advise them on the HMRC demand. You are a chartered tax practitioner in the employment of Think Tank Consulting, and Syntax request was referred to you to deal with. Sorry, let me take that one again. You are a chartered tax practitioner in the employment of Think Tank Consulting, and Syntax request was referred to you to deal with by your managing partner. Required. Prepare a briefing note to the managing partner of Think Tank Consulting, in which you set out clearly with reasons whether UK's tax is due on each of the payments made to Joboku Lullaby Company Limited as demanded by the HMRC.
Great. This is for 20 marks. So you have to do everything you can. Everything you can to get X marks. It's easy. Samiki Sedu, are you following the whole discussion? Or it looks basa-basa?
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm following.
I have learned over the years that you can follow, but it's a different thing together. Can you get 15 marks from this?
I will do my best.
Okay. Charlie, you guys must pass for me. That's why I'm saying insistence. I want you to understand what we are doing. So, friends, let's go back to page 338. We are going to read it to answer this question. Okay. The answer is in page 338. So, friends, take me to page 338, paragraph 2.
Page 338.
Yeah, look at paragraph 2.
Paragraph 2.
Yeah, part 11. It says what?
Part 11.
Paragraph under paragraph 2.
Paragraph 1 of the article deals with income derived by individual entertainers and sports persons from their personal activities. Paragraph 2 deals with situations where income from the activities accrues to other persons.
Now, let's hold it there. Look at the one they paid to the bank account. So who is performing? Look at B.
3,000 for using purposes. Image.
The money was paid to this guy for him. In other words, the whole group, the group is in London to perform. And so who was invited? It was Jokubu.
Joboku, yeah.
Joboku.
That's right.
Joboku was invited. So any money that is accruing will ordinarily go to Joboku, isn't it? Though Professor Abu is the lead orchestra or whatever, don't know what instrument he plays, but he's the lead. So we are clearly looking at a situation where the income is accruing to another person, but Professor Abu is a performer. Okay, go ahead. Move on.
Okay. If the income of an entertainer or sports person accrues to another person and the state of source does not have the statutory right to look through the person receiving the income to tax it as income of the performer, paragraph 2 provides that the portion of the income which cannot be taxed in the hands of the performer may be taxed in the hands of the person receiving the remuneration. If the person receiving the income carries on business activities, tax may be applied by the source country, even if income is not attributable to a permanent establishment there. But it will not always be so. There are 3 main situations of this kind. A, the first is the management company which receives income for the appearance of, example, a group of sports persons, which is not itself constituted as a legal entity. B, the second is the team, troupe, orchestra, etc., which is constituted as a legal entity. Income for performances may be paid to the entity. Individual members of the team, orchestra, etc., will be liable to tax under paragraph 1 in the state in which they perform the activities as entertainers or sports persons on any remuneration into bracket or income accruing for their benefit derived from the performance of these activities. The profit element accruing from the performance to the legal entity will be liable to tax under paragraph 2. C, the third situation involves certain tax avoidance devices in cases where...
Hold on, Sammy, do you get the situation in first and the second one? Do you get the situations? The first is where there's a management company which will receive the income or the appearance fee of the group. This may not be a legal entity. In our case, we have a legal entity, isn't it? Sammy?
Hello, Timo. Hello, Timo. Yeah.
Are you following it?
Yes, I'm here.
So the second one, the second is the team, troupe, orchestra, and etc., which is constituted as a legal entity. Here we are talking about Jobuku Lullaby Limited. Income for performances may be paid to the entity, and we have seen that it's been paid. Okay, if you go here, some of the income has been paid. It continues.
Yeah.
Individual members of the team, orchestra, will be liable to tax under paragraph 1 in the state in which they perform. So if the income is paid to the group, the persons in the group may be liable to tax in the country in which they perform. So if Abu performed in UK, Abu's income will be liable to tax under paragraph 1. So Abu must pay tax in UK. He continued to say, in the state in which they perform their activities as entertainers or sponsors, on any remuneration or income accruing for their benefits derived from the performance of these activities. The profit element, you see the next one, the profit element accruing from a performance to the legal entity will be liable to tax under paragraph 2. And we know, we read in paragraph 2, and I'm going to read paragraph 2 again for you. Okay, the main paragraph, not the commentary. The paragraph 2 that we are looking at, the commentary. This is what it says. Paragraph 2 says, the paragraph 2 says, where income in respect of personal activities exercised by entertainer or other sports person acting as such accrues to not to the entertainer or sports person, but to another person, that income may, notwithstanding the provision of Article 15, be taxed in the contracting state in which the activities of the entertainer or sports person are exercised. And that is exactly what the B is dealing with. The third situation involves certain tax avoidance devices in cases where remuneration for the performance of an entertainer or sports person is not paid to the entertainer or sports person himself, but to another person. Example, a so-called star company, in such a way that the income is taxed in the state where the activity is performed, neither as personal service income to the entertainer or sports person, nor as profits of the enterprise. In the absence of permanent establishment. Have you seen the permanent establishment? And that's exactly what these guys are arguing. So the United Kingdom authorities went to the promoter and said, and the promoter is who? Is the syntax. Is a star company. The promoter says that, look, the Ghana company is not having a permanent establishment in UK, so you can't tax it. Because under the rules, you can only tax somebody when the person has a permanent establishment. Under Article 5, we cannot find these guys under permanent establishment. Do you get a point? Or are you following? Let me put it that way. Hello?
Yeah, we are following.
Okay. It continues. In the absence of permanent establishment, some countries look through such arrangements under their domestic law and deem the income to be derived by the entertainer or sports person. Where this is so, paragraph 1 enables them to tax income resulting from activities in their territory. Other countries cannot do this. Where a performance takes place in such a country, paragraph 2 permits it to impose a tax on the profits diverted from the income of the entertainer or sports person to the enterprise. If you look clearly, even the B, this is professor's image. And if they give it to the professor himself, the professor can easily be attacked for tax. But they did not give it to the professor. They gave it to the company. What is the implication? Continue to say, it may be, however, that the domestic laws of some states do not enable them to apply such a provision. Such states are free to agree to other solutions or to leave paragraph 2 out of their bilateral conventions. Sammy, are you with me?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm with you.
The application of paragraph on 11.1, the applications of paragraph 2 is not restricted to situations where both the entertainer or sports person and the other person to whom the income accrues, example, a star company, are residents of the same contracting state. The paragraph allows the state in which the activities of the entertainer or sports person are exercised to tax the income derived from these activities and accruing to other person, regardless of other provisions of the convention that may otherwise be applicable. So we are saying that paragraph 2 is too elaborate in such a way that you cannot argue that there's no permanent establishment. You cannot allow it. No. That's why it's saying the paragraph allows the state in which the activities of the entertainer or sports person are exercised to tax the income derived from these activities and accruing to another person, regardless of permanent establishment provision, regardless of Article 7 provision, whichever. Then it goes on to say, thus, notwithstanding the provisions of Article 7, the paragraph allows that state to tax the income derived by a star company resident of the other contracting state, even where the entertainer or sports person is not resident of the other state. Conversely, where the income of an entertainer resident in one of the contracting states accrues to a person, a star company, who is a resident of the third state, with which the state of source does not have a tax convention, nothing will prevent a contracting state from taxing that person in accordance with its domestic laws. 11.2. Paragraph 2 does not apply, however.
Bryce. Hey, Bryce.
Okay. Paragraph 2 does not apply, however, to prize money that the owner of a horse or the team to which a race car belongs derives from the results of the horse or car during a race or during races taking place during a certain period. In such a case, the prize money is not paid in consideration for the personal activities of the jockey or race car driver, but in consideration for the activities related to the ownership and training of the horse or the design, construction, ownership, and maintenance of the car. Such prize money is not derived from the personal activities of the jockey or race car driver and is not covered by Article 17. Clearly, however, if the owner or team receives a payment in consideration for the personal activities of the jockey or race car driver, that income may be taxed in the hands of the jockey or race car driver under paragraph 1. 11.3. As a general rule, it should be noted, however, that regardless of Article 7, the convention will not prevent the application of general anti-avoidance rules of the domestic laws of the states of source, which would allow the state to tax either the entertainer or sports person or the star company in abusive cases, as is recognized in paragraph 76 to 79 of the commentary on Article 1. Also, paragraph 9 of Article 29 will prevent the benefit of provisions such as those of Article 7 and 15 from being granted in abusive cases. 11.4. Paragraph 2 covers income that may be considered to be derived in respect of the personal activities of an entertainer or sports person. Whilst that covers income that is received by an enterprise that is paid for performing such activities, such as sports team or orchestra, it clearly does not cover the income of all enterprises that are involved in the production of entertainment or sports events. For example, income derived by the independent promoter of a concert from the sale of tickets and allocation of the advertising place is not covered by paragraph 2. Please, are we looking at it? So he said, income derived by independent promoter of a concert from the sale of tickets and allocation of advertising space is not covered by paragraph 2. While the article does not provide how the income covered by paragraph 1 and 2 is to be computed, and leave it to the domestic law of a contracting state to determine the extent of any deductions, the income derived in respect of the personal activities of a sports person or entertainer should not be taxed twice through the application of these two paragraphs. This will be an important consideration where, for example, paragraph 2 allows a contracting state to tax the star company of an entertainer on the payment received by the company with respect to activities performed by the entertainer in that state. And paragraph 1 also allows the state to tax the part of the remuneration paid by the company to the entertainer that can reasonably be attributable to this activity. So all we are saying is that you cannot tax the gross income. If Jokubu received a gross income, you can't tax it. And then when Jokubu also pays salaries to these individuals, you also come and tax. That will result in a double taxation agreement. Is it clear? Silence.
Yeah, it's clear to me.
Silence.
But let me find out. So are we answering the question by reading the paragraph, so we are now about to answer the question proper.
So based on paragraph 2 that we have read, you should be able to deal with this question. But don't forget, you remember I told you that the UK, Ghana, UK, who has the Ghana, UK one? You need to read it for us. Ghana, UK. Some people are busy, they are going around. So they are really not participating. Some people are busy. Today, I've not heard of Rachel. Rachel, are you in transit?
No, I'm at home.
Oh, then today you are quiet, Paul. Is everything fine?
Yes, everything is fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, Sami Kisedu, read it for us. Kisedu.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, read it for us.
Please, which article in the Ghana UK?
18.
18, okay. 18.1. Notwithstanding the provisions of Article 14 and Article 15 of this convention, income derived by a resident of a contracting state as an entertainer, such as a theater, motion picture, radio or television artist, or a musician, or as an athlete from his personal activities as such, exercised in the other contracting state, may be taxed in that other state. 18.2. Where income in respect of personal activities exercised by an entertainer or an athlete in his capacity as such accrues not to the entertainer or athlete himself, but to another person, that income may, notwithstanding the provisions of Articles 7, 14, and 15 of this convention, be taxed in the contracting state in which the activities of the entertainer or athlete are exercised. And then 18.3. Notwithstanding the provisions of paragraphs 1 and 2 of this article, income derived from activities as defined in paragraph 1, performed under a cultural agreement or arrangement between the contracting states, shall be exempt from tax in the contracting states in which those activities are exercised.
So you see, Ghana introduced a cultural arrangement, but it's not in the commentary. Okay, so let's go and look at how we can tax this. We can deal with this question. Please try and bring all your knowledge regarding the taxation of entertainers. You need to give us some introductory comments. You will certainly get some marks from it. Okay, give us the foundation, just like you are answering any question. So clearly, we have discussed Article 17, but this question is Article 17.2. If you go to the Ghana UK, it's Article 18 what? Is it 18.1 or 18.2? Kisedu?
Yeah, tomorrow, which one?
Yeah, the question.
The cultural one is 18.3.
So the question that we have given you, would it be 18.1 or 18.2?
This one will be 18.2.
Correct. So you notice that we are testing how you understand the application of Article 18.2 between Ghana and UK. If you cannot remember 18.2, you can say 17.2. Though they're mentioning.
No, please, I had a question.
Okay.
I'm just asking, 18.2 becomes applicable because there's a tax liability which should have gone to an entertainer or a sports person. And that's because the income is not going to that entertainer or sports person and it's going to another person. We look at whether or not we can tax it in the hands of that person.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, in order to go to 18.2, should we not first establish that if that income had been paid to the entertainer himself, maybe for the image rights or cancellation or whatever, it would have been taxed? And that's because it's not going to him and it's going to somebody else, it's taxed in the hands of that person. Because I think that, I see image rights, I see cancellation fees and all those things there, but we can only establish whether we'll tax under 17.2.
Great. Great. That would be your general statement under under Article 18. You remember I told you that give us some foundation. So what you have said is clearly what 18 is talking about. So you can't just jump into 18.2 without giving us the general foundation, but you can find a way to fix it anywhere. But at the back of your mind, you know this is clearly under 18.2. So you are right. So in any case, you need to state the general principle under taxation of sports person and entertainers. So what you have said is clearly what paragraph 1 says. Or Rachel, you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you.
So your paragraph 1, which is normally part of your introduction, it should come somewhere in your writings that when we are considering paragraph 1, any income that an entertainer derives from his personal services can be taxed in the contracting states in which he's performing, and it can also be taxed in the country in which he's resident, notwithstanding the provision of Article 17, Article 15, which is on personal employment. Then you come and look at the 18.2, which is the second paragraph. Then you say that, look, if the income accrues to another person from the performance of his personal services, it doesn't prevent that income from being taxed. You get a point. So you find a way to fuse. It's just the same way you're answering question on permanent establishment. We may not ask you what is permanent establishment, but at least give us that flow. Oh, permanent establishment means blah, blah, blah. Then you just give us those examples, office, manufacturing plant, and then all those. And before you come and look at the real beef in determining your answer, those small comments can give you marks. And you can even get like at least 5 marks from it. And in the marking scheme, in this case, you see that, yes, in the introductory part, we said that, yes, we expect students to apply 18.2. Then we came to state the general principles that deals with entertainers, that if it is about entertainer, then it should be from his personal service and it's taxable. And then 2 talks about the situation where the income is derived by his pay to another person. So the question then you have to do is, especially because this one is this we have given you this list. How do you determine which of them comes under Article 18? Okay, and this one we did it in the previous examples. You remember when we're looking at Article 1? Who remembers? Hello? Have I lost many? Hello? Am I online?
Yes, we are online.
You remember?
Yeah, tomorrow you're online.
Remember when we're dealing with Article 17, paragraph, the first paragraph, we looked at a number of them. How we can, I'm trying to open one of them. Yeah. Jocelyn.
Yes.
Are you following us?
Yes, I'm following.
You remember this one? This one was paragraph 1 question. Mr. Dixon is a well-known English rap artist. We discussed this one. So
I think you started before I joined, though.
and then next time you have to join early.
Yes, please.
So
I think I told you the other time. I've missed a lot. Yeah.
Okay, you've not missed too much.
Yeah.
Right. So now, after you have laid down the foundation, now the next task ahead of you is, how do you determine that these things are directly linked to entertainment and sports person? That's the next question you need to ask yourself, and you have to address it. Appearance fee, is it linked to the performance? And we are saying that appearance fee is normally linked, so it must be taxed as what? Article 17, Article 18 income. What about percentage tickets? Percentage of the ticket sales, is it linked? Yes, tickets is linked. Or what about DVD? The image. that cannot be linked to Article 17 or Article 18 when we are looking at UK, because royalties will normally come under Article 12. Please, are you with me?
Yeah, it's more, we are here.
Yes.
What about sponsorship fee? Or let's talk about branded t-shirts. Branded t-shirts, we are saying that it has nothing to do with the link, the your friend is saying the performance. What about cancellation fee? Cancellation fee, we are saying that it has not been performed. The work has not taken place, so it cannot be linked to Article 17. So normally will come under business income. So the same determination, you need to make it in this. Okay. So your next thing that you need to address is, how do you determine which income falls under Article 18 of the Ghana-UK Double Taxation Treaty? And how do you determine it? You determine it by looking at the connection between the income. Is it predominantly attributable to the performance? If it is, then it comes under 18. If it is not, and it's a property right or a copyright, then it comes under 12. Is that okay? So let's look at the £100,000. Where will it be? Where will it be taxed? Do you think the £100,000 should be taxed in UK? Hello, Rachel. Performance, 100,000 for public performance. Should it be taxed in under UK?
Yes, please.
Because it's from the performance.
Yes, please.
Okay. And it will come under 2. This one will give you. You see, the fact that it is taxed in UK does not mean that we cannot tax it in Ghana. We can tax it. That's why it uses may be taxed. If you read this one. Here. Or say where income in respect of personal activities exercised by an entertainer or acting as does not accrue to the entertainer or sports person, but to another person, that income may. And you come to our local law, you read section 5, you will notice that we tax you on the global income as long as you are residents. We are told that the Jokobu Limited is a resident company in Ghana, so we tax them on the global level. But Article 17 gives UK the right to tax it. So we may tax it in UK, and then when it comes to Ghana, we may tax it. Then we have to provide for a relief of double taxation. We have to relieve it under Article 23. That will be another article we'll be looking at. What about the royalty, the image right? Should it be taxed under UK? Sure, sorry, should it be taxed under Article 18? Is it related to the performance?
No.
So it will come under Article 12. Okay.
So sorry, Timur. I think I didn't get the narration around the image rights, but you know, for image rights, it may or may not be connected. So I wanted to know why this one is not connected to the performance.
Oh, okay, which image right do you think will connect to the will be connected to the performance?
We are looking at B, right?
Come again. Yeah, B.
The 20,000 for using the performance image to advertise.
Yes.
So if you were using it solely for the purpose of advertising for the performance at Gustav Hall, is it not directly related to the performance and as such should be taxable in the UK? Well, how do you distinguish between when it's related and when it's not related? I wasn't following the discussion there.
So this is a copyright. So copyright will best fit under Article 12. It has nothing to do with the stage performance.
1 second. So sorry, there's a car passing out. But if you look at the commentary, I think that page 336, paragraph 9.5.
Read it for us.
1 second. It is frequent for entertainers and sports persons to derive directly or indirectly, example, through a payment made to the star company of the entertainer or sports person, a substantial part of their income in the form of payments for the use of or the right to use their image rights. Example, the use of their name, signature, or personal image. Where such uses of the entertainer's or sportsperson image rights are not closely connected with the entertainer's or sportsperson performance in a given state, the relevant payments will generally not be covered by Article 17. There are cases, however, where payments made to an entertainer or sportsperson who is resident of a contracting state or to another person for the use of or right to use that entertainer's or sportsperson's image rights constitutes, in substance, remuneration for activities of the entertainer or sportsperson that are covered by Article 17 and that take place in the other contracting states. In such cases, the provisions of paragraph 1 or 2, depending on circumstances, will be applicable. So I think they are saying that it depends on how related it is. So I wanted to ask you, how do we distinguish between when it's related and when it's not related to the performance?
Which paragraph is that?
Well, I don't know which one I'm looking at, by 336, 9.5.
336, 9.5. So okay, let's go there. 9.5. Please, are we all there? There are cases, however,
Yes.
payment made to an entertainer or sports person who is a resident of a contracting state or to another person for the use of or right to use that entertainer's or sports person image right constitutes substance remuneration for activities of the entertainer or sports person that are covered by Article 17 and that take place in the other contracting. In such cases, the provisions of Article 1 or 2, depending on the circumstance, will be applicable. So I think that instances where the image right can constitute a major part of the performance, then we can say it can fall under Article 17. But where we are using his image as an advertisement prior to the event, Rachel, do you think it can constitute part of the performance?
So I'll give you an example. So when they're going to do, let's say, London Olympics 2012, they picked two particular people, British people, who were using to advertise the program. Okay, and it was just for the purpose of that program. In such a case, if they pay something to the two people they used for using their image, but it's related direct, it was just because it was just used only for the purpose of that London Olympics. Why can't we say that it's covered by Article 17?
Okay, let's go to 9, because we are looking at a situation where it is linked. 9 says, besides fees for their actual performance, entertainers and sportspersons often receive income in the form of royalties or of sponsorship or advertising fee. In general, other articles would apply whenever there is no close connection between the income and the performance of the activities in the country concerned. Such a close connection would generally be found to exist where it cannot reasonably be considered that the income would have been derived in the absence of the performance of these activities. Do you think that the income will not, the advertising fee will not be derived if the performance doesn't take place? Rachel?
Sorry, I wasn't following.
No, so 9 is saying that to determine the closeness, this is how we do it. We should consider generally that the income will not be derived if the performance does not take place. Then in that case, we can say the income is closely connected. So if it is advertising, can we derive that advertising fee if the performance does not take place? If it can, then it is not closely related. But maybe on stage, okay, on stage, there is that specific advertisement that must be done on stage, so that if that stage performance does not take place, we cannot get that advertising. Then we can say that that thing is related to it.
Yes, so I was trying to draw a distinction. So let's say we use maybe Stoneboy. So let's say Coca-Cola use Stoneboy generally for their, I use them on all their billboards and things like that. In that case, if Coca-Cola pays any money to Stonewall for the use of his image, it doesn't fall under Article 17.
Correct.
Let's
Correct.
assume it's a different thing.
Correct.
However, let's say that Charterhouse is going to do a program. And in the program that they are organizing, they advertise that, okay, Stonewall will be there, Shatabala will be there, blah, blah, blah will be there. And they do billboards saying that this program is happening on this day, and these are the headline people. And we use their pictures for the advert that we splash around town. And we pay them some income separate from the performance fee for using their image on our advertisement for the program. I think that the use of the image rights in that instance is directly related to the performance, and as such will fall under Article 17.
Okay, Richard, let me ask a question. If the performance is cancelled, is the advertisement money refundable?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked. I don't see the commentary.
If it's
I don't see the
way,
commentary. Sorry.
if
Okay,
it happens that way,
then
your argument may hold, because, for example, we'll say, look, if this performance doesn't come on, every advertising money I have done, I want to come for it. But where the performance is linked to the advertising, such that if the performance does not take place, we can never get that income, then we'll say it is linked. But where the advertising can take place, cancellation can take place, and we'll still receive the money, then we cannot consider the linkage. What do you think?
I agree with you.
Let me give you last example. Assuming that we put advertising image on the ticket sale, or somebody advertises on the ticket, and then we say, oh, you know what? We are going to sell 1 million tickets. So put your adverts on it. MTN, everywhere you go. If the performance doesn't take place, we will not sell tickets. And therefore, MTN will ordinarily say that, by you, I paid for my everywhere you go to be on the ticket. The ticket was not sold. So give me my money. So you realize that that image right is directly linked to the actual performance of the job or of the entertainment. So if it doesn't take, MTN has the right to come for the money. But where we have advertised on a billboard and something has happened, we cancel it. Oh, you can't say it's linked. What do you think?
I agree with you, because I wanted to understand in what circumstances 9.5 under 9.5 image rights will be taxable in the country in which the performance takes place. But I think I agree with you on that. So it all depends on how related it is to the performance.
Exactly. The close connection. The close connectivity.
Okay, so that in the absence of any further commentary in the question, can we assume that the image rights in this case were not connected to the performance?
Exactly.
Okay, because there's a cancellation there, so I'm assuming that's okay. That's fine.
Any question? I want us to move to another article. I really didn't assume say a BHS. Any question? I'm going to share this slide with you so that you will look at it. Any question? Are we all on the same page? Hey, people are not talking. Okay, so let me just read through what we have here. So C says similar income which could not really be attributable to such performance or appearance will fall under the standard rule of Article 7. So payment received in the event of cancellation of a performance in Gibson Hall are outside the scope of Article 18. I think this is clear. It doesn't, if cancellation performance has not taken place, so you cannot say we are coming to do this thing. D takes a different view because we read in the commentary. This is gate proceeds. Okay. Now the income relates directly to the appearance of professors. So notwithstanding the provision Article 17 and 15, the amount paid to Lullaby Limited for the gate proceeds will fall under Article 18, 1 and 2. We brought 18, 1 and 2 because maybe they will share some money and give part to professor. If it's in the hands of professor, it comes under Article 18.1. And then if it is a profit that is left for the limited company, then it will come under Article 18.2. Don't forget that we may also tax it in Ghana because it's a resident company. So When they come to Ghana, we say, come and declare your total income. If you have paid any tax in UK, we'll give you a credit for it. 20% of the income from the advertisement also is related to the business and to the performance. And we made taxes under Article 18(1) and 2. So subject to the aforementioned, the UK tax authorities may be justified in taxing some of the income that they've said. I'll share this slide with you. We just have 30 minutes, so I want to rush through the Article 26, which is also another important article for us. Just all the commentary. It's not many. Take a little time and read. There are other questions that comes under Article 17. I will share with you. So in conclusion, when you are going for the exams, look out for Article 17(1), which is sole person performing and all the income attributable to him. Look out for income that can come under Article 17 and those that cannot come under Article 17. Pay attention to cancellation fee, image rights, advertisement, and all those things, sale of tickets, royalties, and all those things. They are the things that we want you to know and then determine how it should be taxed. When it has to do with a group, please remember to apply 17(2). A group will always receive the money on behalf of the individual. So it's clear. Then you apply 17(2) to it. Spend like 30 minutes, brush through. You don't need to read everything. Okay. Brush through as if you are rushing into the exam. So
Hello, Timo.
Yes.
A quick one. So in UK in taxing, it's is it the company that is resident in UK that will be in charge of deducting it and then they pay it to the revenue authority there?
No, I don't know the rules, whether the UK, the person can deduct it, but ordinarily they may play a key role to getting to know who they are dealing with. But it's possible that the orchestral group themselves will have to go to the UK authorities and go and pay the taxes. But
okay.
They can also use the promoter in UK to do that. In the question, we are told that they first approach them that these your visitors, we think their income is subject to tax. So that is how it looks like.
All right. Thank you.